on UBC. Brought to you by
Airtel. Download Airtel TV to watch and support Ugandan talent on The Voice Africa every Sunday at 8 p.m.
Lunchtime news on this 12th day of July 2023. I'm Lorraine Masika Kazimoto. Now we start off this afternoon news bulletin with the government has received power stabilizing equipment from the government of Japan through the Japan International Corporation Agency, JICA. The Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited will be responsible for managing the equipment, which has already been installed in the 3 substations. We have more details in this report.
The installed power stabilizing equipment in the main 3 power transmission substations of Lugogo, Kawanda and Tororo is expected to minimize power outages and losses.
This equipment is therefore a very vital tool as we strive to ensure that the transmission grid is stable and available at about 99% or even better.
The Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabira, reiterates the government's commitment to transmitting generated power to the last mile consumer.
We are trying to expand the national grid, and we are so committed to make sure that the national grid reaches everywhere. But specifically, I'm concentrating on West Nile. Even northern Uganda, where your Gulu electricity is like disco lights, you know? They call it disco lights, but these days it's becoming more and more stable. So, Your Excellency, we shall need more stabilizing systems in our transmission system.
The equipment will monitor and ensure power stability and reliability for economic transformation. UETCL management is cautioned about the maintenance of this high-tech equipment.
Now, I think everybody knows that providing equipment is very important, but what is more important is the maintenance. I always say this in every occasion, whether it's a hospital, schools, roads, etc. Maintenance is very important.
And in the plan of UETCL is building new systems as well as maintaining the old systems. Otherwise, you cannot evacuate, you cannot transmit.
The system is worth $5 million and has been installed as a pilot project by the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, which will also provide training to UETCL engineers for maintenance.
Interconnection of electric grid for the Nile Equator Lake countries with loan amount of $5.406 billion. It's approximately $65 million.
The project will improve the reliability and stability of power supply in Greater Kampala metropolitan area through construction of new substations at Pulowa and Mukono, as well as upgrading of Kawara substation and associated transmission lines.
The Ministry of Energy plans to implement a fast-tracking system to remotely detect and counter vandalism.
We are planning for a system that will match the new technology that those high-end vandals are using. We are planning for that. We have received a number of applications, and time will come when we announce the company that is going to establish that system. We need a system that will be able to detect which area, which pylon is being attacked, so that we are able to connect to our units which we shall be having, so that they swing in action.
In the event of a fault, this installed equipment will enable UETCL managers to easily locate and address the issue, thereby reducing potential power outage durations.
A new international medical center has opened in Lira to provide quality health care and modern interventions. C-Care International Medical Center says the investment is a renewed commitment towards improving access to quality medical care.
C-Care International Medical Center has opened a branch in Lira to improve access to medical health care in the region. The multinational healthcare group based in Mauritius and operating across the country is now accessible in 18 locations in the country, including the newly launched Lira branch.
I feel really very happy because, anyway, I don't want to mention, but it is very common with government facilities. If you go, there are delays, of which I don't like.
I have been to many hospitals, but maybe the way things are handled, sometimes it becomes hard for you to reach the point where you want to reach. Maybe the line is too long, the staffs are too harsh, things are not okay, you are being pushed from here to there, and you really don't get what you want. But here they direct you well, you really get to see the doctors on time, and really it saves time a lot.
200 people who showed up on the first day benefited from the free medical services at the launch. Sheila Aboth, the regional marketing manager at C-Care, explained that the facility will reduce on the travel cost of residents in Lango sub-region for better medical services.
Lira has been on our list for over 4 years, and the people of Lira have been requesting that we have a facility in Lira. We've seen most of them going to Gulu and some of them going to Soroti, where we have a facility. So it's been in the pipeline for the last 4 years. Until now we said, let's have a facility. And it has also been challenging to get a place where you can put a decent facility where people can visit.
Following the current debate on the rampant road accidents, Matthias Okwir, the regional traffic officer, expressed concern in the manner in which the road users behave.
As the regional traffic officer, this also falls under my topics, because our work is to safeguard life and the property. How do you safeguard life and the property? Not only when you come to C-Care, even on the road there. As you are moving, are you saving your life? Are you walking on the road properly? Are you crossing the road properly? Are you driving well?
The Lira Resident City Commission appealed for better buildings to market the city and reduce on the rate at which buildings collapse.
We are now a city, we are growing, and what we need now are better facilities, better infrastructure that can attract certain services like C-Care is bringing here.
A month ago, a building under construction in Lira City East Division collapsed, killing 2 instantly. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Thank you, Eddie Olwa. Now, the death of prominent businessman Apollo Nyegamehe and former Member of Parliament Angiro Gutmoy has resurrected the debate on road usage in Uganda. Parliament has faulted law implementers for failing the road usage policy in Uganda, paving way for an increase in road accidents. Now, in response, the Minister of State for Transport, Fred Byamukama, decries corruption eating up the Uganda drivers' licensing system.
A fresh publicized road accident last week involved a prominent businessman, Apollo Nyegamahi, alias Aponye, who died after the car he was traveling in rammed into a stationary car along Itojo in Tungamo district. The tragedy has reminded Parliament on the fate of the laws originating from the August House in relation to the road safety and usage in Uganda.
Nobody bothered to remove that road. I mean that car.
Speaker Anita Mong wants any stranded vehicle to be towed to various police stations at owner's cost to avoid such accident which claimed the life of Aponye.
You cannot have those cars parked on the roadside causing accidents. We are losing people and the owners are not bothered.
The House faults police and other relevant implementing authorities for failing to operationalize the law against poor road users. A Rute South Member of Parliament, Jonathan Odu, says 30 billion was appropriated to relevant authorities specifically for road safety campaign, but in vain.
The Ministry of Finance said that is software. The government has now moved this priority to now tangible things, and yet PDM has components of roads, and you are going to do roads in the villages and you are not going to sensitize people.
I am very sure that if this truck, if there was sufficient space on the side, this truck could have been moved by the side to leave the road free for other road users. However, because of the road design that UNRWA and the Ministry of Works have picked up on these narrow highways, this is the reason why if a vehicle gets spoiled, it remains there, and at the end of the day,
claims of corruption eating up the Uganda driver's licensing system also surfaced as cited by the Minister of State for Transport, Fred Byamukama, and backed by verbal example from the Speaker of Parliament.
Of somebody who learned how to drive within the compound. After learning how to drive within the compound, 2 days later went for a road test, failed the road test. She paid 200,000. She was given a driving permit.
And you know, the issuance of driving license, the one who tests a human being is also a human being. But we are designing a system where we are running out from, you come to me, I test you, if I'm friendly, I can sign a document, you pass. We are bringing the automation method where everything will be done digital. To an extent, someone who is awarding you marks, you are not seeing that person, so that to avoid this thing of briberies and looking into the face.
A reliable information from the annual crime report 2022 indicate that 61% of all road accidents were as a result of reckless driving, including human error. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
Over 8,000 people who had set up camp in the land adjacent to the office of the RDC in Chikube district are facing the threat of eviction by the owner of the property. Now, these individuals come from 1,889,000 households in 28 villages of Kashwanga Parish, Changwali Sub-County, Chikube district. They were previously evicted by the office of the Prime Minister in 2013 on the grounds that they were illegally settling on the land designated for the Changwali refugee settlement camp.
The current owner of the land, which is located next to RDC's office, wants the 8,000 people who were previously evicted from Cheya village to vacate his land for utilization. These refugees had been in a sorry state, having spent over a year and a half in this area.
For 1.5 years until last Sunday, when the landlord evicted them and they decided to come to our homes. Some are at my home where I am today, others are at the home of the area MP, Honorable Kazin.
They camped at the RDC's office for 3 years, and the RDC, at the RDC offices, the land was not for the government or for the RDC, it was for an individual.
Many of them are now seeking shelter and safety in the homes of their legislators, where they have been staying for almost a week.
Just here, whom we are seeing among the evictees, teenagers, the youth,
we've just been advising them to see that they don't go into prostitution or trying to use their bodies to get money quickly.
They are in our homes, we cannot manage them. We have seen how they are, the environment they are. We face a very big risk. We have, since they came, we have registered 80 days, and you know when a person dies, what it means.
The legislators have petitioned the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to ensure a proper coexistence between the locals and the Changwari refugee settlement.
We are trying to see these people today, they don't have food. We have tried to feed them a few days, but they also don't have food, they don't have where to sleep.
If they have taken the responsibilities of looking after the responsibilities of refugees from other countries, why do you create another refugee settlement or another refugees within a country? A person cannot be a refugee within his or her country.
In light of the dire situation, a compassionate individual has donated relief items including 100 kilograms of beans, 200 kilograms of maize flour and 20 tarpaulins. Chikube District LRDC, Amlan Tumusime, is urging the government to find a lasting solution for these people who have already suffered enough.
We want to encourage these victims to remain disciplined, to ensure that they keep law and order. But more importantly, they should not even allow self-seekers to mislead them and make them make mistakes.
The victims have appealed to the government to resettle them.
Taraka bamwe babemihiri abatukumanya ibayirukire yo naturiyo turikubonabona enjara kibyona muri kubyetegereza mani wabwine kandi na omuna uyateyeho ngatuhandikire baruha yo kwitwara.
Now away from Chikube district to Nakapiripirit. Now authorities in the district have intercepted and impounded a police truck that was loading bags of charcoal despite the presidential ban on commercial charcoal trade. The police officer and truck driver are currently remanded at Namalu prisons in Nakapiripirit district. The truck, alleged to have come from Mbale city, was discovered loading over 70 bags of charcoal in the Kamusalaba area along the Moroto Nakapiripirit road in Nabilatuk district.
The impounding of a police truck has raised concerns about the enforcement of the presidential directive on the charcoal ban and forest conservation in northern and northeastern Uganda, as the enforcing body itself which promptly took action with the assistance of the police. As a result, the police truck carrying 70 bags of charcoal was intercepted and impounded, and the driver was arrested.
So this is very unfortunate that a police vehicle was involved in this act, and in our meeting we resolved that this application of the executive directive number 3 is not going to be discriminatory, that even if it was going to be a government vehicle involved in the transportation of charcoal, that vehicle will resolve what is to be.
Nakapiripirit District Deputy Speaker Susan Nangiro praised the effectiveness of the presidential directives in reducing deforestation caused by charcoal burning.
This vehicle which came from Mbale, the drivers linked with it to Nakapiripirit District. They went the other side of Kamsalaba, loaded charcoal there. For us, we are waiting to see what is going to happen. And good enough, it is already there. It's already the police now. The vehicle is already there. They impounded it.
However, she noted that attempts to regulate the charcoal business through district council resolutions have been unsuccessful.
When the other person comes from Kampala with a lot of million, they pick these very boys over hours. They give them 5,000. They go and finish the whole bush. So that's why I saw it is really a big challenge. And I think I'm happy on what the government has done to Karamojang through those directives.
Paul Lokut, a male district youth councillor, emphasized the need to involve youth in campaigns against deforestation. He highlighted the importance of engaging young people in efforts to protect the environment and protect sustainable practices.
We have leader structures in different sub-counties.
leadership of youth. We have the youth councillors at the sub-county level. We have the youth chairpersons at the sub-county level, and we have also at the village level, at the parish level. At least one of the strategy to use is to identify one of the youth leaders in the respective sub-counties of Nakuru to work together and to be not going to work and coordinate this activity either to the RDC, either to a responsible person in that environmental officer.
Regional Police spokesperson for Mount Moroto, Michael Ongole, stated that he will provide further details about the incident after verifying the reports. Marion Awori and Maureen Yiga for UBC.
UBC Lunchtime News takes a very short break, but we return with more stories after these messages.
These days, our homes are no longer just the places we live. It's where we attend meetings, go to class, keep each other safe, and entertain ourselves. To do this smoothly, you need a reliable internet connection. Buy the MTN WakaNet router, which connects up to 32 devices and get a free 40 GB data bundle at only 149,000 shillings. Or buy the MTN WakaNet MiFi at only 75,000 shillings and enjoy a free 15 GB bundle to stream, study, work, and play on the go. Visit any MTN service center to buy the MTN WakaNet router or MiFi and enjoy the internet that does amazing things.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret? Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM? Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk. No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving. Juko. I thought I was one of your friends. You are. But you left me behind. I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
This is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1# and select call all networks.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
The biggest, the baddest East African Christian Marathon is here. Come participate at the East African Christian Marathon for a prayer run on the 13th of August 2023 at the Lugogo Hockey Grounds. Come represent your family at the prayer run and run for a good cause to build the first call center, which will be East Africa's virtual listener. Come for the prayer run alongside your pastors, leaders, representatives from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, South Sudan, and of course Uganda. Participate with Honorable Captain Mike Mukula, who is the chief runner and patron. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Make your donation for your kid now from 20,000, 30,000, and 100,000 Uganda shillings, because runs change the world. For more details, call 0781 885 055 or visit our website at www.eastafricachristianmarathon.org. Proudly sponsored by PKF, UBC, Venro Health, Aquafina, and Moving Preacher.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. His reason is to be the GOAT. Their reason to imagine is to take the beat and make it lit. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president. She is the hope of our community. And as a community leader, I will talk to others about how we must protect her against child marriage and teenage pregnancy because it affects us all. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from pregnancy. Because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Uganda waraji batusako manrane chikona tena tekobo seko season yakuna savu July kuma Mount Papa's Hall usasule kwa MTN mobile money usasule kuma chitundu MTN usasule nega komitano iga sistemu kagatano stamu enda munana hasha kwa MTN ufune tiketi yokati wabula kumliango usasule mitwale ibiri yepe mitwale tano atemeza ya milioni biri munana July kodi ni hotel mkono wenda July ni can resort elweza 15 July France Africa Jinja habiri mbili July Maria Flema Saka habiri mwenda July Afro Club Eka Sangati ate yoyo noku yingi na mutualo wafujinidwa musente Talent Africa Victoria University Suzu Property Consultants Pepsi Max Uganda Waraji ne
MTN.
Welcome back from the break, and we're glad that you're still with us. Now in more news this afternoon, and I will provide 20 million Uganda shillings to each innovative and community-based solution organization in Uganda. The 500 million fund will support 25 groups, and successful applicants will begin implementing their projects from October to December this year.
As part of MTN celebrations of 25 years of existence in Uganda, the company has launched a 500 million social initiative fund aimed at transforming the lives of communities across the country. The initiative is designed to provide support to local individuals and organizations that are dedicated to making profound impact on their communities.
$500 million shillings, yeah, and in 25 communities. To be impacted. That is a big, massive change that we're going to create at the end of the day. The proposals should not exceed 20 million. We want many people and many communities to be impacted. But we have seen that even with 20 million shillings, the change that can be created can become very big and very massive.
MTN Uganda's Chief Executive Officer Sylvia Mulinge stated that the project aims to drive change and offer assistance to innovative Ugandans involved in community-based initiatives.
So for us, the key thing to remember as core to the change makers vision is that we want to unleash the potential of every individual as we equip them with the tools and resources that they need to create a sustainable, transformative reality that will progress their communities.
The application process is open to all Ugandans nationwide, and successful applicants will begin implementing their projects from October 1st to December 31st.
The project must focus. They must be sustainable and have a lasting impact. So we'll evaluate that for sustainability. We'll also evaluate if the project addresses a community or social need. We shall not allow individual-driven projects.
In the past decade, MTN Foundation has invested 30 billion shillings in over 250 projects, focusing on areas such as health, education, water and sanitation, and youth empowerment. These efforts have been instrumental in changing the lives of communities throughout the country. Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
The Uganda Coffee Investment Consortium has gifted coffee farmers in the district of Kwen, Kapchora and surrounding districts with a modernized coffee processing mill to add value to coffee. This was revealed at the groundbreaking ceremony of the proposed modern coffee mill in Kwen district.
Farmers in the districts of Kwen,
Kapchorwa, among other districts, have been struggling to find a place to process their coffee. A farmer would fetch a better price from selling processed coffee. Christine Moga says, after observing their struggles, she decided to come up with the Mount Elgon Women's Specialty Coffee, an umbrella organization for women in their communities, and started buying coffee from fellow farmers.
Then I thank the government through UCDA. They have allocated some of our groups washing stations, though for us as Mount Elgon women, we've not got one. That is an appreciation.
She further explains the challenges they are facing, among which is the lack of land to build a coffee processing plant, thus appealing to government to give them a hand of help.
We want to appeal to the government that we need support as Mount Elgon women in specialty coffee because we are paying taxes. We need to increase on our productivity so that we shall earn high foreign exchange, and that one will support us.
Sylvia Chebet of Masha Coffee says they have the best quality coffee and getting such seedlings will attach value to it.
Company, we are very focused on partnership because we know we can't go far if we work alone. And I'm happy that our leaders are very close to us and are seeing what we have. And as Masha, we would like to mention that we are not only seated in Queen. I think the little we've done, we're already being recognized beyond Queen.
The chairperson Uganda Coffee Investment Consortium, Nelson Tugume, said women work in very challenging situations in assessing the best farmer-based services in the area. He, however, pleaded to the community and the whole country to drink coffee processed by these women.
This story must be told all over the world. If she's getting $4 out of her coffee, how can we fight for her to get $50? And then land will not be an issue because now it will be about the productivity of the tree.
Now into the world of sports. Over 2,500 runners were able to raise 200 million shillings for water and girl child uplifting. This took part in the ABSA Kampala 7 Hills Run to support the girl child education. The proceeds obtained have been distributed to various stakeholders to support the girl child.
A total of 200 million shillings collected from the In-Agro ABSA 7 Hills Run in Kibuli, Namirembe and Rubaga in Kampala has been distributed to support the girl child education. The funds were handed over to representatives from World Vision and Wakisa Ministries, as well as the Association for Rehabilitation and Reorientation of Women for Development.
With the money that we're going to receive, we will, beef up our sponsorship program, which takes girls back to school. And we hope we can take as many girls as possible to school, attain an education, be able to have open doors to do anything, everything.
And these particular funds that we've received, the 90 million from ABSA Bank as a donation, we are going to focus it on the menstrual health hygiene, targeting the girls, many of them who are out of school because of the menstrual hygiene issues and the challenges that comes out of that. Many of them are out of school. One of the other ways that we are going to do it is really to ensure that we do issues like the reusable parts so that it becomes affordable, so that it's not a one-off and they are able to make the sanitary pads, they're able to make money out of it, and they are kept in school.
Participants were commended for their generosity exhibited to raise funds meant to support efforts intended to prevent mothers from dropping out of school.
It was quite humbling that we witnessed an overwhelming response that from this activity from the public. And on behalf of ABSA Bank, I would like to express our gratitude for the tremendous support from everybody that participated in the cause.
Over 2,500 participants dedicated to women's empowerment and providing teenage mothers with essential skills to protect them from exploitation. Masha Miro for UBC News.
Well, that wraps it up here in UBC Lunchtime News. Thank you so much for your company. Do enjoy much more of UBC Television's programming. I'm Loreen Masika Kazimoto. Good afternoon.
BBC, inspiring Uganda.
The law provides for the Electoral Commission to organize elections for the different offices from local council 1 to the presidency. In the unlikely event of an elective position falling vacant on health grounds, or misfortune of death, or resignation of an elected representative, the Electoral Commission is mandated to fill such a vacant position by conducting fresh elections after a given period of campaign. From February 2021, the Electoral Commission has organized 6 by-elections for parliamentary representations as well as local councils from Kasasa to Sarare to Bukadia, Soroti, Kayunga, Omoro and recently Oyam district. In all these, the NRM party has won all except Oyam. We have also seen in some constituencies where opposition had won. NRM swept, but in the case of AM, which was represented by Colonel retired Charles Sengola, NRM, may his soul rest in eternal peace, UPC took the day. The question that we shall explore on your favorite weekly program, Behind the Headlines, is: do party ideologies matter, or did government make little inroads in OEM?
I was a young, sharp girl. Yes. And they would choose me as their class monitor. I taught at Bukungu Primary School.
Bukungu Primary School. I really loved my school time. Yes. And I was a minister of clubs.
Oh.
Yes.
We often say, why aren't we letting women do the things they're doing? Here's examples of women who are doing things they're doing.
So why are we...
Where ideas are discussed and dissected. And today I host Sandra Awili, who is the founder of ShareCard, among other things. And she's going to tell us all about it. Sandra, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Damali. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. I'm looking forward to exploring what I've been up to. Yes. So it's pretty cool to be here.
Thank you. Yeah. So tell me about ShareCard.
ShareCard, as we define it right now, is a digital platform that organizations that are serving communities can use to be able to have visibility on how their projects are being implemented remotely on ground. So ideally what we say is with ShareCard, a project manager or an M&E expert or an organization can be able to be the project lead. You would have a dashboard where you get to plan out all of the activities that you would expect your team to do while in Arua. So then you would say this is Project Arua, and inside Project Arua you build forms. Say maybe you would require certain information to be gathered about the final beneficiary that you would be targeting. So you put in your questions. There's so many options, multiple choice, check boxes, short answers, dates, pictures that you would expect to have.
ShareCard allows them to actually upload pictures?
Yes. You can upload pictures.
That's interesting.
So you build these forms that would essentially be a survey or an assessment of the final beneficiary. And then you build, once these forms are built, I would expect that you would want to distribute some packages, some benefits that the beneficiaries would have. So then you document these beneficiaries. You build a package and then you put the details of the package, and then you say there may be 10,000 packages that you want to distribute as ideation corner. Besides the packages, even before you hand out the packages, you'd want to train people on how to benefit and use these packages so it's more impactful. So then you create trainings and training groups or topics that you'd expect the beneficiaries to attend for them to qualify for these packages. And then you put all of these in a workflow. So you control how your people work in the field, remotely, like you're sitting in your office.
But you don't train them on financial training when you haven't trained them on ABC.
No. You make sure that everything is standardized and people are not doing stuff to tick a box or ad hoc. There is actually a flow, how things work. So you say maybe Sarah is one of your agents that's going to Arua to work with beneficiaries, and Sarah would ideally be an agent, right? So then Sarah's workflow would look like this. After the registration of the beneficiary, which is profiling the beneficiary, I need you to do an assessment. Does this beneficiary qualify to be part of our program? Actually, a cool thing on qualification is you can have scores.
Okay.
Yes, you can add scores to the question, meaning if someone answers a question a certain way, they either earn points or lose points. And the cool thing is the field agents cannot be biased because they do not know.
They don't know
they don't know.
They don't know that there is a score.
They don't know that there is a score, and they don't know which question takes or adds points. So that removes the bias.
The bias, yeah. Okay.
So then Sarah's workflow would be, you know, after registration, do an assessment. If the beneficiary fails this assessment, archive their information, put them on the side, so that you're not like dealing with so many people
when they actually don't qualify.
When they don't qualify. And the thing is, immediately someone does not qualify to be part of the beneficiaries, they will know because you hit submit and it's like, this person does not qualify. Or this person qualifies, move them to the next stage. And then, you know, attach the most important thing we did is you profile your beneficiaries, the one that have qualified to go through the program. They have something that IDs them, like identifies them as being part of your beneficiaries that are moving on with the program. So Sarah's workflow would dictate how she works, step by step by step, until the program finalizes.
So she doesn't go to the field and does whatever. She was there for a month and there's nothing.
Yeah, or she was there for a day and she says she was there for a month. You would know.
Because this data is all in real time.
Everything.
She's everything in real time. Everything is real time. And on my dashboard here, right here, I can see it.
Yes.
Even though I'm not physically there.
Everything that is submitted through the agent app is received on your dashboard in real time. So you would know that today, Sarah went and visited John, who is in a farm somewhere, and delivered these farm packages that are from Ideation Corner. And John confirmed that he received the packages because you scan John's ID.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to have him with John. Or I can call John because I have their details.
You can't call John. You have to meet John physically.
No, the agent, but if I, who is with the dashboard, I can call John to confirm.
Yeah, you can call John to confirm, but already there is confirmation through scanning.
Okay.
That saves you the resources that you would have to do to trace where the packages went.
And I feel like I can easily map them. Like the packages are now here. Now the packages are being distributed. 50% of them are still sitting in the store.
Yes.
And
you would know, like, because we do calculate data based on completion rate of tasks. Once a task has been completed, it gets ticked off the list of the so many tasks that need to be completed. Once a resource has been removed from the storage, you would know, say, out of the 10,000 packages that were supposed to be distributed to 5,000 people, 50% or 20% has already been shipped out. So you know.
And I know it's shipped out within these 2 weeks or 1 day. Or
you get a daily minute-by-minute report on what's happening.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, are you working with any development partners or people who do these kind of projects, for example?
So we are on the early stages of, we recently just, pushed out an MVP and it's in the market, and we're present in Kasese right now working with a client whose focus is being able to have as many people planting avocados as possible, because they're building a factory to extract virgin avocado oil, the best quality that they can get. So one of the problems that they did face the last 2 years, they lost a lot of time because of not being able to receive information in real time from the agronomists on how the avocado plants are faring, and they lost so many seedlings because no one was giving them information in real time. The farmers didn't get support when they needed to get support, and it was hard to tell. Like, you would be calling your agronomists in the field, what's happening, and then 3 months down the road, they tell us, 50% of our farmers have dead seedlings. that's money lost, time lost, and we kind of we kind of saw how painful it is for someone who is trying to, you know, cultivate and impact and improve the lives of people.
Yes.
Losing resources is the worst thing that can ever happen to your project.
Because you haven't helped the people either.
You have not helped the people.
You have no inputs for your factory. You're not exporting. It's just lost.
And you keep
because
losing.
you didn't have the information in real time.
Yeah, you keep bleeding money. And I think for me, going into this space of, you know, optimizing M&E and being able to learn faster was just the thought process of, we have all of these people coming into the country trying to get people out of poverty, but they're bleeding money because they don't have the right infrastructure to be able to tell when they're making an impact and when they're not.
Yeah, in real time.
In real time. I think time is very important.
Yeah, that's why I like your tool, because we do monitoring and evaluation, but it's really not monitoring. You're monitoring after the fact. You're finding other things after the fact, and then we're obsessed with these lessons learned. Like, there's some lessons I didn't need to learn. There's some things that I could have just corrected if I had the information in real time.
In real time.
Yes.
And I think for me, just going into this space was also from personal experiences that I had as a vulnerable person seeking help, needing to be supported. And you find that there are all of these gatekeepers to the gatekeepers.
They're actually just keeping you out.
Yeah, they are keeping you out. And a lot of the people who come up with these,
and you can never implement your vision, you see.
You can never.
You have to work with people to implement.
Exactly.
But then you're not getting the right information. Then you find out at the end of maybe 12 months that, hold up, with time, I could have, fired the gatekeeper. And it should.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also not just looking at firing people. I'm just looking at, you know, at giving them the right tools.
Now, fired the people. Like, you're an agronomist attached to these 10,000 farmers in this place in Kasese, and you didn't pick up the right information to tell me so that their seedling doesn't die. Because maybe we just needed to spray it because of a pest that's coming and I have the pesticide. But you didn't share that info. Why would I not fire you? You've wasted my time. The farmers haven't benefited. Why would they not be fired?
Yeah, I mean, probably you have every right to fire. I would fire them too, because it's frustrating being in that space. I remember working with a project and I was the country lead. I'm not going to mention which project it is, but very, very quickly I realized that there was a big gap between the vision we had for the people we're serving and the needs of the people. And it was very difficult to.
But you knew this early on.
I knew this early on, and
because when you're conceptualizing, you can't figure out everything.
Yeah, when you're conceptualizing, you can't.
You make assumptions. So you figured this out early enough.
Yeah, and it was also a bit difficult to understand exactly what was going, because I came into the project midway, like a year after it had already started. But very quickly, I caught on to that big issue. And when I went on to dig where the problem started from, I realized it started from the beginning. And at some point, it was a bit late to now start firefighting.
Going back.
And
sometimes people don't want to know.
That's also what I realized.
Like I did, because there's also sometimes a conflict. I wrote this entire concept. I sold it. I've gotten the money to do it. And now some information is coming through that actually your entire principles are crap that you used to do this concept. And I'm the same person who is supposed to change them or accept that I was wrong. So it's a conflict.
But it also comes down to leadership. At the end of the day, you as a leader, are you willing to take the L
and accept that, you know what, I messed up, can I pivot it?
Exactly.
And if you know early enough, now like if you're using Checkout and you know this info early enough, because early enough I can still pivot. I still haven't implemented the entire thing. The money is still there. We still have time to go. So you could change.
I mean, what I usually tell myself is there's always room for error, and it's really up to you to say, yes, we were wrong, but there is an opportunity to still, you know, achieve what we set out to do from the very beginning.
Yes.
And all we need to do right now is, you know, have better checks and balances in place, like, you know, change something that is not working. Maybe right now we're working with Excel, and I've realized that I have 10 people on my team. That's 10 Excel sheets to keep track of. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
So
and prone to human error.
Prone to human error, yeah. And human error is actually a huge thing that people don't take seriously, because your calculations and your data could put you, like, you have a target of X, and because you don't have the right data, or your data is corrupted, it can usually just change the trajectory of where you need to be completely. And you find that instead of hitting target X, you're hitting target V, which is way off. Way off.
Yes, but then also I found that sometimes especially in this space of M&E, sometimes you may send someone to the field to collect data on the beneficiaries, and I usually tend to focus on the beneficiary because it's the whole point of we're doing this work. To collect data on the beneficiary, and they can actually forge the data or lie, or they do all these impact studies after the fact, after the project has ended and everything, and then they go to do an impact study, and then we're like, go check on these 20 or 50 beneficiaries. But the person you've sent to check on these 20 beneficiaries could lie. Because it's based on what they're inputting.
Demeli, let me tell you something. Human beings we are prone to deception. Is part of us at the end of the day. And if you're working with people who are corrupted and you prefer deception to being honest, there is so much that can go wrong. And so, having worked with projects before and been in a space where I have seen people lie to get funding, lie for, because at the end of the day, I really don't care about your vision. This is where, why so many things have not changed the last decades since we're
solving the same problem.
We're solving the same problems.
Same exact problem.
Yeah, because you realize
And
that,
nothing changes.
millions of dollars are going to go into solving the poverty issue. But the people working on this issue have no principles. They do not care about the last beneficiary and how staying in poverty affects them. Probably they've never experienced the problem
Most
before.
times they never have, by the way. So many project people have never experienced the problem that they're trying to
So they
solve,
can't
ever.
relate.
Never. There's very few who have.
They really can't relate. And it's even worse when you're sent out to do a job and you do not get in contact with the person whose life you're supposed to change. Nothing works if that is the case. And that's why I think while building ShareCard, I wanted to ensure that the person working on the problem comes into contact with the beneficiary. Because at the end of the day, you get to see
the person.
If you don't solve this problem, you get to see who is going to be affected. You get to look into their eyes
and see them
and lie to them if possible, or have some compassion, because compassion is a big factor why people want to solve the things they want to solve. And people come up with all sorts of strategies to uplift others. Compassion is a big element of that. And the only way your compassion can come to life is when you're looking into the eyes of the person you're supposed to help.
I'm thinking about this because, again, I'm sitting in the shoes of saying, fine, I get to see the dashboard. They are speaking to, I've sent someone out there to go speak to the beneficiary to collect the data that I want them to collect. Is it possible also, on top of the picture, that I can get like a visual, like, the beneficiary is Moses. They've gone to check impact. Did he benefit from this project that we did in Arua? And then instead of this monitoring person that I've sent to write to me, yes, I met Moses, and he says that this is what changed. Can we get a visual of Moses saying, a quick video, like 1 minute, Moses, you're on camera, just say it.
So that is where we're heading.
Okay.
So right now you're able to take a picture of Moses and share a picture of Moses plus the things Moses said to you in writing in the submission that you will have. Of course, the next place to go is, can you take a video of Moses or have an audio recording of Moses saying that, you know, the thing that, you know, you were able to help him with, or the thing that he needs to get out of the situation he is in right now. Which is key.
Yeah, and that's really nice also for the baselines. Huh?
Exactly.
You know, they will always use these baselines so that you can prove the concept or get it approved.
Yeah.
Imagine if these people were like, this is Moses, we think this is your challenge. What do you think is your problem? And then Moses is able to tell us the actual problem. That's when you see, you mentioned how sometimes we've been solving the wrong problem.
True.
Would you talk to Moses?
True. The thing is, at the end of the day, you look at yourself, and these brilliant ideas that are discussed in boardrooms.
Yes,
and
by people who've never faced that particular challenge.
One thing that I did when I was doing this, when I was building ShareCard, initially it was PadShare. That was the focus project. And PadShare the goal was to, you know, under 5 minutes, we should be able to validate that a girl is in need of menstrual hygiene necessities. We know where she is, and we can get her that support under 5 minutes.
Under 5 minutes.
We're not wasting her time bringing her into large mobilization rallies, and then she's talking to her, you know, making her waste a whole day that she could have been productive, earning a living, to just get 2 packs of pads.
She just needs the pads.
She just needs the pads.
She doesn't need your conference,
to go ahead and go back to class and continue learning. That's all she needs. But we are, you know, I think the most indecent thing that I feel people who come out to want to solve problems of women is the fact that they do not consider their time.
The women's time.
Yeah. And how valuable it is that this woman goes back to doing the activity that she was doing before to improve her life. Time is everything.
It is, actually.
We're talking about being able to have real-time information to be able to know when a solution is not working or when it is working. If I waste a day and I don't change how my solution is working, you know, I may not be able to meet the timelines or reach the person that I need to reach on time, which means they could die. They could drop out of school. They could end up being a victim of, you know, early marriage. They could be trafficked. They could end up in the hospital. And, you know,
because of that one day.
Exactly. And at that point, solving the problem becomes expensive.
It's a more complex problem.
It's a more complex problem. So if I am to consider, say I'm working with a child from a poor family, a girl from a poor family who is in school but is not able to attend school regularly because of menstruation. And I am not able to reach this girl on time, or I pull her out of class at a critical point in her life.
To attend this conference.
Where
I'm telling her how she needs menstrual.
She's missing lessons.
And you could just give her the pads.
Just give her the pad, tell her how to use it, let her go back to class. And this is why it's very important to decentralize support centers for people who are vulnerable. Make it accessible, go into their communities and set up this infrastructure. This is very key when trying to, you know, sell people to the idea that you care about what they're going through. Make it convenient for them to access you.
So there was a time we were doing a project where we wanted to sensitize. It's always a sensitization, by the way. We should stop doing those sensitizations. And we're sensitizing the people who are in the problem. They know the problem, but we're sensitizing them about the problem. So anyway, we're sensitizing women who are women traders, who we're trying to tell them how they should really formalize. They don't need to use panya routes, and these informal settings in their markets. So we're like, okay, we'll do a 2-day sensitization. We'll call them into this this place where they will meet, this workshop area.
Taking them away from their business.
Now, of course, we haven't been there, so we haven't been in a market. We can't, again, you're not being understanding the problem because you've never experienced it. So we are conceptualizing it in that we'll call them 2-day workshop, will facilitate them, they'll be there. So we're like, but they'll lose money. So no, we'll pay them for the money. So we've worked it all out. They're not losing money. Because we're like, no, their time should be valuable. Maybe they would have made money on a stall, but we keep them in this place for 2 days, we'll pay them for that money they could have lost on their stall. So we thought we really
figured it out.
So we go and then we start talking to some of them. about this concept to their leaders. So we tell them, yes, what we're planning to do is we'll be helpful with sensitizing you. So their leaders ask us that, yes, great that you're giving them money to come here, but have you thought about their kids? I'm like, what about their kids? So they come with their kids to the store. Where are their kids going to be in these 2 days? We hadn't thought about that. Told us they will not come because they will not leave their kids. And you haven't put any facility here for their kids. Then they asked us the content of the sensitization. So like, yeah, we're going to tell them this, and they know this, and that. Why are you spending 2 days to tell them this, and that? So again, like, but we had done this whole shebang. We had a whole activity. It was done. Thing was approved.
Budgeted for.
Yeah, budgeted for.
Approved.
But then now, I wish now if we had like ShareCard, we could have asked them. We could have asked them, and they could have given us this information when we're sitting in our Kampala office. We could have used this tool through one of their leaders to ask them.
Yeah. And how sure are you that, you know, in the last maybe say 2 years of them being with this problem, no one has spoke to them about that problem before?
And it was so funny when the leaders asked us, okay, this is the content of what you're telling them. It's like, they know, we all know. Why are you spending 2 days to tell us a thing we know? Like, do you not know that we know that, yes, I can export, like I'm at the border. I know I can export. I know that. Why are you spending 2 days of my time?
I'm sorry, excuse my language, but I'm not trying to, you know, look down on the people who try the hardest, but this is what I heard people call it. It's called corporate kamanyiro.
And I'm really, honestly, nowadays, I do not like, every time I see an activity that says sensitization workshop, I question it to the T. And it was because of that learning. Like, they don't need to be sensitized. They know their problems. And we always assume they don't know.
Yeah. There's also like, I think on that same bracket that you're in, there is also, I think, something we realized while building ShareCard is collaborations don't work the way they're supposed to. Say you and your project, you entered an implementation collaboration with another entity or 2 other entities.
Yeah.
They're thinking the same way. They're going to go into this same space
to solve this one problem.
Yes. Reaching the same person. So, you know, you're speaking to the same person 3 times about the same thing
problem.
with the same content.
Oh.
Imagine how frustrating
so
that is.
For them, if I'm that person.
Yeah. Imagine how frustrating.
But then we're always trying to do, you know, in this development, we're always trying to, we're so proud of the fact that we're collaborating.
Yes. We went out there.
As a thing, as an achievement.
Yeah, we went out there, we took pictures, we feel expand impact and be successful at achieving the purpose for the organizations that you have created. So we are out in the market and we are ready.
Okay. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, there you had it. If you're anywhere near the development space, please do check out ShareCard and Sandra with the details that we provided. Thank you.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Personally got an accident one time, just in Mukono. A truck was parked on the roadside. We are losing people with sicknesses. The roads are bad. Trucks are parked on the road and nothing is being done. The Honorable Minister of Local Government communicated to me on the issues of the LOC system, and he wants to be given time to come and make a presentation. I'm happy you're here. You're happy you're here. I also contacted the same minister over a petition from Soroti, and he has told me he wants to come with a concrete evidence before we have the petition presented. He's going to Soroti himself. We have agreed on 20th he should be in Soroti, and come with all the information before we have that handled. I want to thank you once more. Yes, Anthony.
Right Honourable Speaker, yesterday we talked about the accident, and as you said before, this issue has been on the floor of Parliament. I remember at one point you ordered that all the borders in the country must not carry more than one person, and that they should have jackets and they should have helmets. At that time, the top of it, the police plunged into actions. We talk about implementation. Key on our issue is that people who are supposed to take action, they only act in ad hoc manner. And once it is cooled down, just 2 weeks, it goes to normal. And therefore, if we want this issue to be sorted out once and for all, we must make it a must that the ministry should keep reporting, maybe on a quarterly basis, to us on implementation on this act that governs the issue of traffic in the country. Otherwise, all of us are candidates for this problem of accident on a daily basis. You know the commitment that we have as members of Parliament. Sometimes you think you should not even travel at night, but you find yourself traveling at night. And these are common things that we always get on the way as we are traveling. Right, Honourable Speaker, it is important that you should make sure that as you have a meeting, it should be a must that they should be updating the House on the implementation. Thank you.
Actually, a quarterly basis is too long. That is too long. Even Honorable Katavazi, Saba Christo, survived an accident. It was a packed vehicle also. And still based on my communication, I'm happy Mama Babira is here. Mama Babira, I got a petition from the leaders of Aru, Komakes constituency, on how one of the prison officers is busy cutting trees, burning charcoal and selling, and using a gun to protect whatever is being cut. We want to know what we're going to take on that prison officer and report to this House on tomorrow. Tuesday is far, because you can take an action now. You have an answer? Yes? No, don't worry. All of you are going to speak. Don't worry.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I appreciate the concern raised by my son, Dr. Komakech, yes?
I am the one who has raised it. The petition was brought to me in my office.
Thank you. I would want really to get in touch, because we have a presidential directive. And therefore, there is no delay in implementing the presidential directive. And I want to take this same opportunity, colleagues, the issues around the charcoals, the wetlands, the forests, as per the directive of His Excellency the President, if you have it in your constituency, don't hesitate to ring me even past midnight and give that information, and let's try to see that we work on that. As for the petition, Right Honourable Prime Minister,
I am not the Prime Minister.
I mean, sorry, my Right Honourable Speaker. So,
Honourable members, the Minister is saying her phone is on 24/7. 24/7. Call her and fix issues concerning the environmental issues. Unless you don't have her number, I can give you her number. Honorable Malende.
Honorable Speaker, before I bring my information on what you communicated, I would like to thank the honorable members of this House and the people of Kampala for the prayers that you sent to me when I was undergoing treatment. Thank you so much. May the good Lord bless you.
And we want to welcome you back.
Thank you, Right Honorable. coming from your communication, Honorable Speaker, I would like that in tomorrow's meeting, the issue of the barricades on the road should also be looked into. Because from the experience that I've had, when you move on different roads at night, you may find that the traffic officers, they leave those barricades and they have caused several accidents. And those roads have no lights, Right Honorable Speaker. So I beg that tomorrow, that issue should also be looked into. But also, Right Honorable Speaker, before I take leave, I would like also tomorrow that the issue of border riders being, their borders being confiscated should also be looked into, in a sense that recently, as we speak, we've had, there is something going on that border riders are being brutalized. There is a replica of the border 2010 thing that's going on by the border enforcement that is found on Martin Road. So I pray that tomorrow the police officers can be questioned on that and some action can be taken.
Thank you. Honorable members, can I guide this way? Members on this side, if you have an issue that concerns accidents, the road usage, water, can you, of opposition, the able leader of opposition, pass on the message to the leader of opposition. And on this side, we have a very young, energetic government chief whip. Pass on the message. All the issues must be passed on to him, which he will present in the meeting. Are we together? Goretti, then Solomon.
Roads be taken to the leader of opposition. This one is so important that the minister should hear it on the floor, especially when it's coming from the shadow minister from the alternative government. Right Honorable Speaker, everyone is aware of Katonga Road along Masaka. Right Honorable Speaker, Sembabule Mbidizi is the alternative route for the heavy trucks now. But the road is very impassable. The dust is simply too much. Trucks from Congo, from Rwanda are using that route. Right Honorable Speaker, I do avoid accidents, but especially to the school-going children. Government should intervene by graveling that road, not spot grading. I encourage government, kindly intervene, otherwise Zimbabwe is in trouble. The community is seriously complaining, businesses have been frustrated, borders are no longer using that road, all the light trucks cannot use the road as of now. Right Honorable Speaker, this was so urgent, and really I could not wait for the rope to address this. Thank you.
Unfortunately, you will not get the answer now. You will get the answer tomorrow after our joint meeting, and should be reported by the ministry.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you for your communication. Right Honorable Speaker, the matter I wanted to raise, and Right Honorable Speaker, that should be considered in your meeting very importantly. In Uganda, sometimes we want to respond only to crises. We have had very many issues. We had the issue of speedy governors.
It still remains to a crisis.
Right Honorable, what happens to the policies we make? We agree on something, then when, for example, if the accidents reduce, then we keep quiet. And now, we wait until there is another problem. The issue I wanted to raise, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Commissioner, you're preempting the debate of tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to put the whole, before Prime Minister's time, issue on accidents.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. I'll come tomorrow.
And Chairman of Infrastructure, you need to be there in the meeting. Yes, Macho.
Madam Speaker, you are a great lady. Madam Speaker, why I say so, the Kingdom Media House, Kenya, which is a political media house, voted 4 people from the East African region as potential leaders who have done a mark in the political legislation of East African region, and you came number 1 because of chairing the passing of the anti-homosexuality bill. Madam Speaker, when I move in Busia, Kenya.
Honorable members, when you reach Kenya, Honorable Macho is called.
Thank you for that, Madam Speaker. It is a blessing. But you make us proud in this region. Since in Africa it is Uganda and Ghana that have passed that bill, you have put our country on the map. But however, why I stood to communicate to your communication, Madam Speaker, is to agree with my brother from Ugiri, Honorable Serwanyi, that Uganda will operate by crisis. Although the Minister of Local Government is going to talk about it. Madam Speaker, yesterday we had people who failed to buy land in Busia Sofia because the chairman feared to sign because his term have expired. This is a very important matter that I think the minister should not come with lamentations. He should come with an authority so that the local councils can continue working, and as a government we should stop working with the crisis. And at the same time, because as I talk now, there's a standstill almost in the whole country. Information.
Thank you very much, my colleague, for giving way. Madam Speaker, the information I would like to give this House is that whereas we are talking about these expired terms of the LOC chairpersons, this House has not given money for elections. So I don't know whether it wouldn't be right that as we are still having the 3% contingency, whether we should not be working towards that, otherwise the crisis is going even to be worse than that. I beg to submit.
Yes, Honorable Kabusu. Moses.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, arising from your communication, the voters in Chamswa in Kalangala asked me to raise this as a matter of national importance, but since tomorrow a management meeting will discuss issues arising out of accidents on water and land, they asked me that when accidents occur on land, they have been seeing the president
compensating
or senior political leaders in your capacity, Madam Speaker, as you're the great leader. But for the people who drown in the families to manage looking for bodies or transporting the dead bodies or burial. And I think
the only problem we have as senior leaders, we never get information from our local leaders, the MPs of the area, like Honorable Kabusu Moses. Next time, if we get information, we will be able to support. And our condolence to those families. We will support when you give us information. Akelo.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank you for your communication. I also received the communication from the Minister of Local Government regarding the tenure of our LC1 offices. But, Madam Speaker...
Honorable members, how I wish you would debate about the LOC system when the minister is presenting his paper.
No, Madam Speaker, I'm just appreciating, but then I'm coming to what I wanted to say and also make a request that perhaps we also need to look into the election of the Women Council, just like Honorable Meru said. The information we have been getting is that there is no money for election, and this is causing a lot of, crisis in the crisis in the country.
There are no crises. There is a crisis.
Those were not my words, Madam Speaker. But yeah, that is really for me my concern. I thought I needed to raise it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. First of all, UPC. First of all, I want to congratulate you for the win.
Yeah, procedure. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise on a procedural matter. It's good, Right Honourable Speaker, that the Minister in charge of local government will come and address this Parliament. But, Madam Speaker, when it comes to the issue of national importance, I have an issue to address to this House. But, Right Honourable Speaker, we have just heard, I sit on the Committee on Legal. The greatest problem that we are facing as a country is that there is no money for the elections of LC1s and LC2s. And the minister in charge of this docket is the Minister of Finance. So the procedural matter, Right Honourable Speaker, I'm seeking for wouldn't it be procedural right for the Minister in charge of Finance to come and address this House together with the Minister of Local Government so that we know the issue of money pertaining to the elections of the LC1s and LC2s that their term, and the Women Council that their term has expired. And again, Madam Speaker, I hope you will give me opportunity to raise my issue of national importance. Right Honourable Speaker.
We want to say for it in...
Honourable Minister, didn't this same House say we extend the term of office for Women Council? Didn't Attorney General come here?
Right Honourable Speaker, yes, he did, the Attorney General, but let me clarify that we are in consultations.
Honourable
right
members,
now.
some order.
This is very important, honourable colleagues. We are in very deep and serious consultations with Attorney General, with Electoral Commission, with Finance and Gender.
Apollo, you extend and leave your friends space. This, you want to carry Dakas? Sorry, these people were making noise for the minister.
Right, Honourable, I can repeat. We're right now in very deep consultations, the agencies of government concerned, both for the local councils and the women councils. I'm talking of Minister of Gender, Attorney General's Chamber, Minister of Finance, Electoral Commission, and ourselves, chaired by the Right Honourable Prime Minister. And we're looking at this together, and we shall give a comprehensive statement that covers both the LOCs and the local and the women councils. Actually, the budget we're talking about, 59 billion, covers both. So it's good you raise this point. Just rest assured that when we bring that statement, we shall be covering the entire spectrum. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Alan.
Thank you.
Let's first give Alan also to speak.
Yes.
He has never.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I would like also to thank Parliament for the support you gave us while under incarceration. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters. Madam Speaker, as you've guided so, I wouldn't delve so much into the matters of roads, because I was about to bring Salama Road around due to the way it is. Recently, the women complained that because it is too bumpy, now their breasts are beginning to swell because they move in an unstable way. So that one, I will give that point to my leader of opposition. My point goes to the
Honourable
Minister
Alan.
of Local Government.
Honourable Alan. Honourable Alan.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Remember, when you talk about a woman's breast, you're talking about your mother's breast, your daughter's breast. Leave alone your wife's breast. There is no woman's breast that are having issues because of those issues on the road.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It was a concern from my electorates. But on my point,
there is an order. There is an order. That is an attack on women.
Right Honourable Speaker, as we welcome our brothers back from the School of Technology. Right Honourable Speaker, as you have guided, is the Honourable Member in order to demean the dignity of a mother, while the road users are not only women. We have all gender involved on the use on the road, and aware that he survived. The first survival is that dignity of a woman of the breast, and aware that we dress decently, that we don't leave our bodies just hang. Is he in order to have an attack on a mother, on a woman, on the chair of the house? Is he in order? Can he withdraw?
Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable Sewanyana Alan stayed in prison for 2 years. Maybe he was missing breasts. That's why he's talking about the breasts.
Thank you for the guidance, Madam Speaker. Let me go to my point. Madam, that so many leaders here are holding 2 portfolios in the national leadership because of the lacuna of not electing the LC1 and LC2 committees. There are members of Parliament here, I want to mention names, who were previously LC1 chairmen, but they are now LC1 chairmen and the members of Parliament. Some people were women chairpersons. They are now members of Parliament for districts and now chairpersons of villages. So we need to address this issue of electing new members, and then we at least try to streamline the leadership of this country.
Thank you. When we have an election, at least one thing you cannot hold it to political positions. That is common sense.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I just wanted to, there are just 2 points I've had which are a bit controversial. I remember saying the stamps have expired. Stamp does not expire. It is the office which has, the office bearer's term, the term of office of the both the post of an MP and an LOC chair. That would be very controversial, and I don't think there is any here. It's not in the law. It's not allowed.
Semakula had a procedure matter also. First in, first out.
No, Right Honourable Speaker, the issue I was going to talk about was relating to ambulances. As regards to accidents, you were discussed that all government hospitals along the highway should be equipped with ambulances. Then we should also look into the enforcement.
Lope is going to bring it up tomorrow.
Yes, lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, the issue of welfare of your sons and daughters in uniform, Right Honourable Speaker, should be looked into. Not until when we look into the welfare of those police officers, the rest we shall be debating and debating and debating and waste time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Ethel.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I get back to the matter of local councils. Last week we raised this matter for both LC1s and LC2s together with women councils. And the promise was we shall have regulations that the 59 billion is not there to fund the elections of these key crucial posts in
What is the procedure matter?
The procedure matter I'm raising, Madam Speaker, given that these are key administrative units in the country, and given that the functions are well outlined of what they do, and up to this day, these LCs are in abeyance. They can't even tell whether they are existing constitutionally or legally. So the procedure matter I'm raising, won't it be procedure right? Your office or in your chair, you attach a time, because we may continue like this as we await the statement. So want it to be procedurally right. We get a time frame so that we are able to explain well to all our people out there and also guide them and await. And that aside, want it to be also procedurally right. Because according to the laws, we are not in a state of war, we are not in a state of emergency whereby we can have an extension of these offices. So want it to be procedural, right? Government looks for money to ensure that these elections take place. I thank you.
Honorable members, the minister said in consultation, and he will come and report to this house on Thursday next week. He is coming on Thursday next week. Sebamala, Apolot, Bashir.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. First and foremost, Right Honorable Speaker, as much as we have preempted the road safety issue, I was only requesting that I talk briefly about this issue. I'm not going to preempt. I'm only requesting that Minister of Health be included on the people that will be in your meeting tomorrow for emergency, and then enforcement, like my brother said. Right Honorable Speaker, about the LOC ones.
That is fine. We shall also invite the Prime Minister, the PM.
Yes.
And
yeah, about the
Minister of Internal Affairs.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker. And about the LOC ones. Right Honorable Speaker.
I thought we are getting a paper on that.
Okay. Right Honorable Speaker.
Thursday.
Can we start the matters of national importance? Because
honorable members.
Those are the only.
Richard, there is just one speaker at a time. There is one speaker at a time, and that one is none other than.
No, right Honorable Speaker. No.
Christine.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I appreciate your communication so much in relation to accidents and humps. Right Honorable, even as you have made a ruling, I respect it, but on the issue of the Tirinyi-Palisakumi Road,
give your information to
Right Honorable Speaker, allow me hint on it. The Right Honorable Prime Minister directed UNRWA to put humps along that road. Right Honorable, we are losing 3-4 people in a week. And it has now taken about 2 years. Are the directives working or they are not working? Because surely we need to save the people of this country.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Government Chief Whip, take note of what members are raising and kindly follow the Government Chief Whip and give you issues. There was another procedure from there. Please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I would like to appreciate you for your comment about the road carnage. However, there are the two ministers here, one for environment and one for works. Katonga was closed for heavy trucks. But at night, those vehicles carry sand and move along that route. And as a result, they also cause accidents. This is an issue of concern, and I would like to raise it so that these two ministers intervene. I thank you.
Yes, procedure matter.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me the procedure opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, around like 20 minutes back, you ruled on two issues. The issue of roads and accident, and the issue of the LOCs. 20 minutes later, members are still presenting the same issues in different style and language. Are we proceeding right, Honorable Speaker, when our order paper has more 10 items to cover. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, the whole afternoon tomorrow will devote it to issues of road accidents and matters of national importance. Can we go to the next item?
Item 4.
There is a procedural matter from law.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker, for your indulgence. The first one is a matter of law. In absence of the Land Attorney General to guide the Minister of Local Government on his statement that the stamps do not expire, but the office does, he did not proceed to inform the country that whoever engages a bearer of the stamp engages in illegality ab initio. I thought that should be on record, that the population should not really follow the minister's guidance that the stamp is valid. Whoever bears it, bears it.
Honourable Lob, the stamp is valid, but the signature is invalid. That is what the minister needs to correct.
Yeah, right honourable.
Because you cannot stamp without a signature. You cannot just put a stamp.
Yeah, Right Honourable Speaker, I concur. But the statement of the minister could easily be misinterpreted to mean that somebody probably could pick a stamp with a stick and stamp on a document and validate it. So to inform the country, to inform all and sundry that nobody has the force of law to use a stamp of an LC one anywhere. That should be on record, Right Honourable Speaker. Second, Right Honourable Speaker, again for your guidance on the order paper, you guided on issue 3, which is the Soloti market vendors petition, which you had gladly allowed the honourable member to present. You know, Right Honourable Speaker, you're dealing with politicians.
I will gladly still, the same way I put it there is the same way I will keep it there until I have all the facts.
Much obliged.
I'll disrespect the Speaker's decision
No,
this time round.
We are here to seek your guidance.
Yes,
when it's not so clear about the particular
we'll
matter.
have it on 21st, on the order paper of 21st, if they fail to resolve it on ground.
Much obliged.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 4, laying of papers. Item 4A.
Next item.
Item 4A, delegation to the 78th session of the Executive Committee and the 44th Conference of Presidents of National Parliamentary Assemblies of the African Parliamentary Union.
Honorable members, under Rule 33 of the Rules of Procedure, which governs the laying of reports of parliamentary delegations abroad, the report is going to be presented by Honorable Nakut, giving very brief highlights on the keynote lessons that were learned in the process. Please, Honorable Nakut.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I wish to lay the report of the Uganda Parliamentary Delegation to the 78th session of the Executive Committee and the 44th Conference of Presidents of National Parliamentary Assemblies of African Parliamentary Union, held from 5th to 10th November 2022 at Victoria Falls, Republic of Zimbabwe. I will proceed to give a few highlights about the conference. Right Honourable Speaker, you nominated 6 members to attend the 78th session of the Executive Committee and the 44th Conference of Presidents of the National Parliamentary Assemblies. And I was privileged to represent you as the head of delegation. The members are Honorable Achia Remigio, Honorable Feta Geoffrey, Honorable Naluima Betty Itho, Honorable Apollot Christine, and Honorable Kibalia Andrew Maurice. I wish to thank you on behalf of those members and myself for trusting us with this noble responsibility. And now I report about the African Parliamentary Union in brief. The African Parliamentary Union, herein referred as the APU, is a continental interparliamentary organization established in Abidjan in 1976 by the Organization of the African Unions. And the purpose is as follows: to bring together the parliamentary institutions of all the African states, to bring together parliamentarians from African countries to generate consensus on common issues affecting the African people, and to cascade resolutions to inform legislation of their respective national parliaments, to contribute to the strengthening of the parliamentary institution in Africa, the promotion of democracy, and the realization of the objectives of the African Union for the establishment of lasting peace, and finally, to encourage contacts among the African parliamentarians so that they can be in touch. The conference theme that we attended, for the conference we attended.
Give us the lessons, brief lessons that you learned.
Okay.
You're not presenting.
Okay, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'll move.
Follow Rule 33(2).
Okay. "24 parliaments attended. There were considerations made, and I will mention them, the most important ones for you to listen. There was consideration to accept observer statuses. 2 applications were received. One of them was from the Duma state of the Federation of Russia. That is the Parliament of Russia. They applied for observer status. The observer status was granted. That means the position of the Ugandan delegates was neutral, because that was our position as a country because of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. But the conference decided to accept the observer status. The application by the association, the African Association of Libraries and Information Institutions, they applied for observer status. Their application was deferred to the next conference. Then we received reports. The report of the ad hoc committee on financial contributions. Madam Speaker, we wish to report and appreciate you and the Parliamentary Commission. The committee that was made to assess the contributions of member parliaments reported that Uganda was up to date with its contributions. And so we were not embarrassed as delegates. We were able to speak with confidence. So I wish to thank you and commend you and Parliamentary Commission. Keep it up for all the associations where our parliament has signed up to. We had an opportunity to do an excursion, and we made it a learning excursion to inform our tourism sector. In Annex 7, we have highlighted what needs to be done. And we seek your indulgence, Right Honorable Speaker, that these delegates table it to the Committee of Tourism, Trade and Industry, so that the lessons, the good lessons learned, can be adapted in our country. We had a meeting of the APU Committee on Women Parliamentarians. I wish to report that our women participated very well. The 3 women in the committee, they participated very well. And we suggested 4 items to be taken on by parliamentarians, by parliaments, the African parliaments. And all the 4 were taken as a resolution of the conference. Let me read the 4, which we suggested. That involvement of women in negotiations for peace talks between warring factions. If African countries are fighting or wherever, women should be there. We've seen delegations of men only. Number 2, that the national parliamentarians should designate at least 1 hour to devote for debate on addressing terrorism and violent extremism. This was adopted, that it's important we have this conversation for the peace of the continent. Number 3, that peacekeeping troops should have slots for women combatants, specifically gazetted, because they can also do that work. Number 4, that we encourage interstate, interregional, and cross-border trade within the African continent, using the local currencies to reduce vulnerability to terrorism and violent extremism. All these resolutions were adopted, Madam Speaker. I wish to report the women participated very well. Number 4 was re-echoed in the East African Summit, Finance Summit, that we must promote the agenda of trading in Africa with our currencies. Right Honorable Speaker, because I have to summarize, the next conference is supposed to be in Niger. During the APU conference in Zimbabwe, we elected the president. The president of the APU is elected, first priority is given to the hosting country. And the head of parliament of Zimbabwe took it. Right Honorable Speaker, with that, we wish that in the next conference, we propose that Uganda hosts next year, so that Uganda takes on the leadership, the presidency, Uganda Parliament takes on the presidency of the APU. When we take the presidency of the APU, we will then anchor the interest of the continent. You know, Uganda's interest is to see a continent that can trade fairly, freely, so that we do not be threatened by foreign powers. Right Honorable Speaker, it's my wish that you allow that to happen, that we request to host next year. With those, I want to thank the members for doing a commendable job. They did not give me hard time as their head of delegation, and I hope I'll get a second chance to represent you.
I hope the head of delegation did not give the members hard time. Honorable members, this year we are hosting the Pan-African Parliament. Pan-African Parliament PAP will be sitting in Uganda. That is in October. And that's the time we shall be on recess. But we can still join. And then we shall be hosting all the speakers and presiding officers. The leader of delegation is somebody from Honorable Enos. That is what is that? CPA, the Commonwealth Parliament. We will be hosting it from December to January. So we are going to be a busy country. We will still host APU if you wish that we do so. Next item.
Item 4C.
Emat Cecilia, you're most welcome, and we want to thank you so much for how you defended us on anti-homosexuality. Thank you so much. Yes.
Item 4C.
Item 4C, to the best of my recollection, Honorable Hassan made a presentation on this item. Not so? Go on microphone.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
You actually went with the Bashir?
We went to Algeria, the delegation of Parliament, and in March we laid a report covering all the recommendations and resolutions that we have passed during the Algiers conference. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Haji. Next item.
Item 5.
Yes, procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, yesterday you guided that the Minister for Energy should lay on table the agreement the Minister for Energy from Uganda signed with the energy from South Sudan. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm insisting on this because Ugandans are eager waiting to see this agreement, Uganda selling power to foreign countries when Ugandans are suffering with darkness, limited electricity. So I want to know the terms and the condition. In that agreement, the minister was here, but he's right now is hiding. We don't know where he has gone. Minister for Energy.
I am still trying to see whether there is any Minister of Energy here. And in the absence of the minister, the Prime Minister should be able to handle it. So, no, the Prime Minister is here.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the country has enough power. That should go on record as we speak now. The country has enough power and we continue to generate more power. And so we can help colleagues, the neighboring countries. We need to help the neighboring countries who do not have access to power. The agreement, we even want to export to DRC. We have been exporting to Kenya, we have been exporting to Rwanda, and we shall export to other neighboring countries. We are an East African community and we need to help each other. So the agreement he wants will definitely come because this parliament has a sole stake in whatever we do as government. Thank you so much.
Honorable Martin.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, with the issue that Honorable Mayanja raised, I made a rejoin on it regarding power that is being generated and is not evacuated to the national grid. And as a country, we are paying close to 440 billions. Can the Prime Minister perhaps make a statement on that?
First of all, to the best of my recollection, what Parliament wants, and let it stop being Alan's issue. What Parliament wants is the agreement between the two countries. We don't want to go into a relationship of the Bujagalis, the ones of those. You get it, eh? We want to have the agreement on the floor, and I think that's what we want. Basically that. We have no problem exporting, we can even give it to whichever country. But what the House wants is the agreement. And the minister said, he's the one who said he was going to bring it today. Let's have that mean. He said he would bring it today.
Honorable Speaker, I think also mine is a different issue, which is also very important. Right Honorable Speaker, there is no reason why we should produce power without a plan to evacuate it. And this has not just happened today. For more than 10 years, we've been paying this money. And this is a lot of money, Right Honorable Speaker. It's in 400 billion.
Yes.
It's what we are talking about. So we need a report in regard to that.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I sit on the Committee of National Economy, and we visited Karuma when we are processing a loan. And the justification of that loan was distribution of electricity in our country. So as much as we have generated electricity in Karuma and other power plants, as a country, as Parliament, we passed a law to the effect of distributing that electricity. So the kind of clarification we would want to get from the Minister is how far have they gone with that procedure of implementing the distribution of the electricity?
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
Madam Speaker, I think I want to thank the Prime Minister for endeavors, but your communication between your ministers is very key. When agreements are laid before Parliament, they are not displayed on notice boards. They are given to Parliament and the Speaker. We shall demand from the Speaker to go and look at them internally. We don't display this information because some of the information is confidential. In case I come out and reveal whatever is in that agreement, can be against me. So, Madam Prime Minister, the issue here is how do we get the agreements? Whether you are supplying power to Rwanda, Burundi, even to those who want it free of charge, it's your own discretion as government. But Parliament, with its powers, needs the agreements before the floor of Parliament, and the Speaker gets them, where members can go and access them confidentially. So, Madam Prime Minister, kindly cool down and enjoy the House, but please communicate with their ministers. Once they make any statement on the floor, that's why the Speaker and members insist to have them here. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes. Order to who? You're making the order to who?
To Honorable.
No, he's not on the floor. He's not on the floor. For us, we are only following up on what was promised, and the House wants what was promised. Honorable Minister, you promised us the agreement. Is it ready?
Right, Honorable Speaker. The agreement is actually ready and is being delivered to me from UETCL.
Okay, okay. It will reach.
I will lay it on the table when it arrives.
Members, it will reach. The agreement will reach.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, now that the agreement is going to be brought here, there is no cause for alarm. Then two, I want to talk about deemed energy. Deemed energy, where we have dams that are not evacuating power. I have a directive from the President to that effect. And indeed, I feel Parliament should get information. And so I am directing the Minister in charge of energy, the Honorable Nankabirwa, to come here with a statement so that members are also put on board.
Let the Prime Minister finish her statement. Have you finished? When do we get a statement from Honorable Nankabirwa? Which date? On Thursday, we should be able to get a report from Honorable Nankabirwa. Alan, as we wait for the, we'll have the agreement before end of day. Today, not any other day. Sit. Next item.
Item 5. Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Public Accounts, Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, on the report of the Auditor General, on the financial statements of the Higher Education Students Financing Board for the financial year ended 30th June 2022, and other matters.
Honorable members, last week, the House considered and adopted a number of part of this report, and one of the Printing and Publishing Corporation, National Medical Stores, National Water, and Sewage Corporation, plus Kampala City Authority. COSASE has made a report to the effect of what has been read. This report was tabled, it was uploaded, and according to the constitutional provision 1635, it's now time for them to, it has a time frame of 6 months, and I urge the chair that after presenting this, you need to go and work on all what is left so that you're able to present within the time that is prescribed constitutionally. I will now invite the chair to make a presentation. And as the chair makes a presentation, there are issues that were raised, and we said we shall wait for the report of COSASE. So those issues will be discussed alongside with your report. Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and members, I beg to present the report on the Committee on Public Accounts, Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, PAC COSASE, on the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Higher Education Students Financing Board for financial year ended 30th June 2022, and other matters. And as I get started, I beg to lay on table both the report and the attendant minutes.
Please, was it a qualified or unqualified? Did it have a qualified or unqualified opinion?
No, it was unqualified.
Unqualified opinion.
Right Honourable Speaker, I will skip through a couple of things, the introduction, background, maybe methodology, just to emphasize who we met as a committee. We met the management of the Higher Education Students Financing Board. We met the board of the Higher Education Students Financing Board, that's the board of the entity. We also met officials from the Ministry of Education and Sports. I'll move to our findings, observations, and recommendations. 1, implementation of the approved budget, and the first one is revenue performance, and with specificity, performance of non-tax revenue. The board, Right Honourable Speaker and members, as I refer to the board, I mean the entity, because the entity is Higher Education Students Financing Board. So that's the board that I'll be referring to, the entity itself. The board budgeted to collect non-tax revenue of 0.59 billion during the year under review. Out of this, 0.75 billion was collected, representing a performance of 128% of the target. In addition, the board planned to collect revenue due to the revolving funds from recovery of loans amounting to 0.98 billion during the financial year, but only 0.31 billion was collected, representing a performance of 31.4% recovery of the target. The accounting officer submitted that the low level of recovery performance was mainly due to the effects of COVID-19, resulting in too low levels of economic performance. In addition, the board was affected by the low levels of staffing, especially in the recoveries unit, with only 3 staff to follow up on more than 4,000 beneficiaries that have completed their studies and are in the repayment cycle. He informed the committee that the board had designed a number of strategies, including working with employers through the Federation of Uganda Employers, Ministry of Public Service, the Credit Reference Bureau, and other large database handlers in order to improve loan recovery. The board, that is the entity, also profiled beneficiaries in the different cohorts and formed social media groups where beneficiaries are updated regularly on the status of their loan repayment. The committee observes that the overperformance of NTR collection was due to the increase in the number of applicants in the year under review, owing to the non-refundable application fee of 50,000 shillings. 2, the board collected much less than what it ought to collect, owing to understaffing And whereas there were strategies to increase loan recoveries, the rate is still low. And we recommend that the accounting officer should institute measures to ensure that more recoveries are attained to enable continuation of the fund. The next item, performance of Government of Uganda receipts. The board budgeted to receive 32.3 billion, out of which 16.9 billion was warranted, resulting in a shortfall of 15.4 billion, which is 48% of the budget. The Auditor General further noted that the entity did not seek a revision of its budget, and the work plan, as provided for by Section 17(3) of the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. The funds that were not warranted were meant for the implementation of the following activities. Right Honourable Speaker and members, we have provided a table showing what this money was meant for. One, loans and scholarships, that's for sponsorship of continuing students, 11.89 billion. Operations of the board, 3.11 billion. The accounting officer submitted that the shortfall in funds released during the financial year created arrears on the part of the board, whereby higher education institutions submitted demand notes and invoices which the board could not honor. The arrears were verified by the Ministry of Education and Sports Internal Audit Department and submitted to the Ministry of Finance as domestic arrears, and the board was following up to ensure that these were prioritized and paid. The accounting officer explained that the shortfall had a negative bearing on the fees to be paid to various institutions, and the last release came in towards the end of the financial year. In financial year 2022-2023, only 60% was released, and the challenge of arrears would remain. As a result of the budget cut, only 600 students had been sponsored, whereas the board had planned to sponsor 1,600 students. 85% of all the applicants are eligible, but not all of them can benefit from the loans because of budget cuts. He stated that the board had made several requests for supplementary funding to the Ministry of Education and Sports, but the releases from the Ministry of Finance were inadequate. The committee observes that 1, the shortfall in government funding significantly impairs the ability of the board to sponsor the planned number of students. As a result, many deserving students end up missing out on sponsorship. 2, the board has domestic arrears in form of unpaid fees from financial year 2021-2022 caused by a fall in releases. And the committee recommends that the Ministry of Finance should fully fund the budget of the board to enable it clear its outstanding obligations to the higher education institutions, and 2, should allocate funds, more funds, to enable the board sponsor all eligible applicants. The other issue is absorption of funds. Out of the total warrants of 26.19 billion received during the financial year, 24.05 billion was spent by the entity, resulting in an unspent balance of 2.14 billion, representing an absorption level of 91.83%. The unspent funds were retained to be used in the subsequent financial year. The funds that were not absorbed were meant for investment in fixed deposit, which was not implemented. Also, the funds for salaries and gratuity were not used due to non-recruitment of staff as planned, owing to a ban on recruitment by the Ministry of Public Service. We observe that the delay in the procurement process regarding the fixed deposit investment led to the absorption of funds, and absorption that is, and we recommend that the accounting officer should ensure that all the procurement processes are initiated in a timely manner. The other issue is accumulation of payables. A review of the financial statements revealed that the board, that's the entity, reported under the statement of financial position payables amounting to 15.33 billion compared to the previous year payable position of 1.42 billion, indicating an increase in payables of 13.9 billion. That's 977%, out of which 99.4% relates to loan disbursements to beneficiary institutions. In addition, the payables verification report by the Internal Auditor General's Office and the Ministry of Education was not availed for audit verification. I'll run down to our observation. Number 1, the presence of payables is attributed to the low release of funds from the Ministry of Finance. 2, the payables are in the form of unpaid fees to institutions of higher learning, which impairs the ability of the board to perform its primary mandate and also cripples the finances of the institutions that the beneficiaries attend. 3, there was no evidence that the Office of the Internal Auditor General and the Ministry of Education and Sports had prepared payables verification reports. And we recommend that the Internal Auditor General and the Ministry of Education and Sports should prepare the payables verification reports to ascertain these payables. The other issue is low loan recovery rate. Section 21 of the Higher Education Students Financing Board Act of 2014 states that the scheme is only for Ugandan students seeking financial assistance to pursue an accredited course of study or program of higher education in an accredited institution of higher learning recognized by the National Council for Higher Education. A review of the statistics of students' beneficiaries from the loan scheme since inception indicated that there was a decline in the current financial year in students' financing with reference to Note 21 of the financial statements. The board had managed to finance only 25% of the total demand by applicants, which was below average performance. Right Honorable Speaker and members, we have availed a table there that shows the different percentages in the different financial years. The accounting officer submitted that the poor loan recoveries were partly due to the effects of COVID-19, which led to the lockdown of the entire economy, resulting into businesses closing down and high levels of unemployment. He further submitted that the majority of the loan beneficiaries were not yet into gainful employment and could therefore not make a substantial contribution or repayment. The accounting officer submitted that the poor loan recoveries were partly due to the effects of COVID-19, which led to the lockdown of the entire economy, resulting into business. That sounds like the chairperson, Kusas. May I proceed, Right Honorable Speaker?
Can we proceed? Technical team.
He explained that several efforts, including working with employers, profiling the beneficiaries, and using their leadership while at university to trace for the beneficiaries, were instituted and would continue in order to improve loan recovery. The low levels of staffing, especially in the recoveries unit, which has only 3 staff to handle more than 4,000 students in the recovery phase. We observe that the low recovery denies opportunity to numerous eligible students who would benefit from the money plowed back by the past beneficiaries. We recommend as follows. 1, the accounting officer should institute measures to recover the amounts due and submit a report on the same to Parliament within 6 months from the date of adoption of this report. 2, the accounting officer should put in place a loan recovery policy within 6 months from the date of adoption of this report. Number 6, lack of loan portfolio risk analysis performance reports. Section 9.1 of the Board Credit Manual provides that the Board shall observe and comply with the principles and requirements of loan classification and provisioning according to the International Financial Reporting Standards. It further provides that the Board shall also observe both the objective as well as the subjective criteria for establishing provisions which shall be categorized into A, normal risk, that is pass, B, watch, special mention, C, substandard, D, doubtful, and E, loss. The additional disclosure required at the review of the financial reporting framework in terms of loan portfolio reporting for the receivable loan portfolio was noted as inadequate and may not be informative to stakeholders and users. It was noted that whereas management disclosed the loan portfolio investment of 127.83 billion in the financial position, the statement of financial position, there was no evidence to show that the analysis reports were made to ascertain the risk status and aging analysis of the loan portfolio. I'll run to the observation, Right Honorable Speaker. The absence of analysis reports makes it difficult to ascertain the credibility of the reported figure of the loan portfolio investment of 127.83 billion in the statement of financial position. It is therefore difficult to establish what is due for recovery. We recommend that the accounting officer should put in place an appropriate credit manual for the institution and prepare periodic analysis reports regarding the risk status and aging analysis of the loan portfolio. The other item is failure to approve the loans recovery policy. The board established a loan recovery department composed of a recoveries manager and 2 senior recoveries officers. A review of the loan recovery report prepared by the recoveries manager for the period ending June 2022 indicated 3,025 student loan beneficiaries owing a total of 48.056 billion had completed their courses and grace period and were due for recovery over the next 10 years. However, it was noted that there was no approved loans recovery policy to guide the recovery process of the due amounts from the 3,025 beneficiaries. The draft policy has been in place since 2019-2020, but had never been approved by the board and hence cannot be used as a guide for recovery operations. I'll move to the observation. The committee observes that the absence of a board for a long time hindered the approval of the loans recovery policy, and we recommend that the new board should expeditiously approve the loans recovery policy, and management should report to Parliament on the same within 3 months from the date of adoption of this report. Number 7, staffing gaps. The approved organizational structure for the entity provides for 65 approved permanent staff positions. However, the board had a big staffing gap despite increase in its activities. In the current financial year, out of the established 65 positions, only 28 positions were filled. That's 43%, leaving 37 positions vacant, 58%. Some of the unfilled positions are senior, and the Auditor General has not shown a recruitment plan to fill these positions. And we have a table there showing the staff structure and which positions are filled, which ones are not. The vital positions included manager loans and manager scholarships under the Directorate of Operations, while the Directorate of Finance did not have the manager finance, manager HR, manager procurement, manager planning, manager monitoring and evaluation. There were 15 officer positions that were vacant, since 3 officers were promoted as senior officers and 1 loan officer's contract was not renewed and replaced hence 4 extra positions in addition to the prior 11 positions. We observed that the low staffing levels, especially the absence of middle level managers, significantly affects the functioning of the board. 2, the low levels of staffing have impaired the ability of the board to recover loans, and this affects the continuity of the loan scheme. We recommend that, notwithstanding the ban on recruitment, the board should recruit officers for key positions to enable it execute its mandate. 8, governance of Higher Education and Students Financing Board. Section 6.4.2 of the financing policy of 2012 indicates that the board will be composed